Oh man, I can't wait for the DLC. It's incredible they managed to keep it under wraps for so long, not even dropping a single hint on us. Oh, come on! It was there the whole time! Ladies, gentlemen, and trainers of all ages, the two-part DLC for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet was officially announced last week, and of course, since that time, the community has been absolutely thriving. More active than it's been in a while, and with that announcement also came patch 1.2 for Scarlet and Violet themselves, which happened to accidentally include some things they may not have meant to leave in. Today is another roundup of all the leaks, rumors, and theories about the DLC that have come up within the last weeks, and get ready because there are quite a few interesting things to go over here. First up then we have this 4chan post. This happened before the Pokemon Presents, before you have any questions. It happened before we were revealed, and pretty much everything in here was proven to be true, so this poster is now considered pretty much confirmed to be in the know. Well, they had a follow-up post with some clarification of their original points. Apparently there will be special terrestrialization appearances added in the DLC. What this specifically means is a little bit unknown, but what is theoretically guaranteed means that we should be getting some new terrestrialization forms that aren't just the regular Pokemon with big weird hats. And while I personally like big weird hats, they undeniably are a little bit uncool. So if we could get some actual transformation looking appearances here and there, that would be great. One theory some people have is that Terrapagos, the new legendary in the Indigo disc, the second part of the DLC, might literally look like the page in the Paldea book with its own special terrestrialization form. And that would be crazy to actually see properly animated in the game. Past that, this person also talked about a new model of Switch, and it now seems all but confirmed that this will literally be the Switch 2. Not just an updated Switch, but literally the next generation version of the Switch, a much stronger machine, and it will theoretically be released around the end of the year. Past that, they also mentioned that the second part of the DLC, the Indigo disc, is scheduled to be released in early 2024. We were told winter 2023 beforehand, and the first couple of months of 2024 are still technically the winter, and it is the winter of 2023, so this isn't really unbelievable by any means, though it would be a little bit mean of them to word it this way. Then we have this absolutely insane picture from Moot Monthly. It is the map of Paldea beside the sprite for Terrapagos. Look at it. Look at this in depth. Just give it some proper time to actually sink in. We have for ages been comparing Terrapagos to the myth of the world turtle, but it turns out the world that this game is based within, specifically Paldea itself, is literally shaped like Terrapagos. The shape is absolutely uncanny. You cannot call this a coincidence at this point. It is just way too close, way too accurate. So basically, we've all been journeying around a land shaped like a giant turtle for the last 5 months, and no one had any idea until this moment. These people have been living on a giant island. Actual people of this area have been living here for literally their entire life on a land shaped like a giant turtle. And no one thought that was odd. And now there is a big, powerful, legendary turtle announced, and it's all starting to just make way too much sense. We don't know pretty much anything else about the second part of the DLC, the Indigo disc, which is the part where Terrapagos actually lays dormant, waiting to be found by us. And the only things that we really know about this are that it's going to be Blueberry Academy out in the ocean. So what if, in some way, Terrapagos is literally Paldea itself, the representation of the land that we've been training on? Sure, it may just be that the land is shaped like the Pokemon as some sort of reference to its power, but what if the landmass itself genuinely is the Pokemon and we can only see it interact with it as a Pokemon from the ocean, from Blueberry Academy? What would this mean if we captured it even? Would we own Paldea?
We stand on the threshold of world domination.
On that specific note of conversation about Terrapagos, let's have a look at these pictures of the new protagonist for the Paldea region Pokemon anime. This theory coming from PokeJungle. The first one is Roy. Regular looking guy, has a weird Pokeball, it's fancy, no idea what's up with the Pokeball really, maybe a secret Pokemon that he just can't unlock because he doesn't know how to use the ball, but it'll be really powerful when he does. The second protagonist, however, is Liko, who also has some sort of unique item of her own. A pendant, a very peculiar pendant, a very almost familiar pendant? Let's have a look at this pendant and then have a look at Terrapagos. Again, there is absolutely no way that this is a coincidence because that pendant is a perfect dead-on match for the shape right in the middle of Terrapagos' shell. You know, that part of the shell where in the Scarlet and Violet book, is where Terrapagos has its crown. In other words, this part of Terrapagos is clearly extremely important to its actual power. It clearly has a lot of hidden power in this Pokemon that isn't quite obvious at the surface, and well, one of the anime protagonists has a pendant that matches it 100% perfectly. This brings up so many questions, but mostly I just cannot wait to see the answers. One more stop then on Terrapagos itself before we move forwards. This is from Light88 on Twitter. This was before we even knew Terrapagos officially, the literal Galapagos area of Spain right in the middle, which also happens to be where Paldea is based off of, and the Galapagos in Paldea's map would be in Area 0, in the actual shape of the area. We now know that the legendary turtle is called Terrapagos, and well again, that almost seems like a dead ringer purposeful choice, right? On top of that, this is the shield of Galapagos, 2 frickin' turtles with a cane in the middle, and of course, a crown on the top. Once again, I bring you back to the picture in the Scarlet and Violet book, where the turtle has a giant crown on its back. It's too much. My tiny brain cannot handle this. There is so much effort gone into making this little trail of breadcrumbs for us to follow, and sure, I can buy that maybe a little bit of this might be a coincidence, but there's just way too much at this point. There's way too much for it all to be a coincidence. This was so unbelievably purposefully done, and it must have taken so much forethought to actually plan it all out like this. With that then, let's look at this thought from Taco on Twitter asking a specific question. We have this sketch page of Pokemon from Area 0, and one of them is just a straight up gorilla. Not like a gorilla type Pokemon that we already have, but a genuine gorilla looking thing from behind. There are no Pokemon that look like gorillas in Area 0 at all, especially none that look this much like this gorilla. So what if this is instead a hint for DLC? What if more Pokemon will be added to Area 0? What if Terrapagos is just consistently churning things out in this little area of Area 0 and is actually the one responsible for every little bit of the mysteries within this game? Sorry that my mind is still locked on that crazy crystal world turtle, but the idea that we could get a new gorilla is neat regardless, and it would also theoretically mean that we'd get multiple new Pokemon here. Then once again from Light88 we see another poster elsewhere in Paldea that is quite interesting too, depicting a Cyclizar-like creature. I say like because it clearly isn't Cyclizar. The eyes are in the wrong place, it doesn't have the weird saddle seat thing in the middle, and on top of that, it neither looks like Koraidon or Miraidon, but almost somewhere in the middle of the two, and it is also blue in color. This could just be stylizing within the poster, but it could also be purposely laying hints down as they clearly have been doing with intent in these posters, as the second part of the DLC takes us to, you guessed it, Blueberry Academy. The land of Scarlet has Koraidon, the red one from the past. The land of Violet has Miraidon, the purple one from the future. So what if the land of the Blueberry Academy, this third academy, has a blue one, a third legendary, who theoretically would be called Genzaidon. The name is specifically as it keeps up with the naming conventions of the past and future Paradox Legendaries, but the idea that this is, what if this is the present version of the Pokemon? What if Cyclizar is just Cyclizar, and the actual Pokemon that our legendaries are Paradox versions of is a legendary itself? Because that would make sense too, right? It wouldn't make sense for only the Paradoxes to be legendaries and the regular form not to be. What if this Genzaidon shown in the picture is actually the present legendary, the present version of this, local to the area of the Blueberry Academy due to its color scheme? Then finally today we have some data that was accidentally left in version 1.2, the patch that we got last week, found by Matt Yukana on Twitter. Mostly this seems to just be textures, as well as a file that references a festival, which of course would be related to part 1 of the DLC. As well, there are textures for a ton of extra background crowd NPCs, and while there were some battles with a bit of a crowd in the base game, this seems to imply there will be battles with much larger crowds in the DLC, as they felt the need to make a ton more unique NPCs as background characters for these. Interestingly, only a few days after this post, there was actually a specific picture released by Pokemon themselves, which shows a new battle arena that will be a part of the DLC, and would you look at that, instantly we have some of these leftover textures from the files, and an absolutely massive crowd, including some of the ones from that file as well, further confirming this release. It's not massive, but it is cool to see stuff like this get actually properly confirmed, even on a smaller scale, because it makes everything else just feel that much more real. And that's it for today, everyone, a proper roundup of all things Pokemon and Scarlet and Violet DLC that have been happening over the course of the last week. I hope you've enjoyed this journey down the rabbit hole of future knowledge, but I wonder, what are your own theories for the future? What do you think is yet to come? All in all, I'm pretty excited for what we have coming to us, and I struggle to imagine it disappointing us given the breadcrumb trail that has been left behind for us to follow, and how fun it's been to just actually go through that myself. Like if you like the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more. more. And most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.